All right, next up, video 3 is the price elasticity of demand, number 2, cereal. Okay, so first part assumes the study shows price elasticity of demand for cereals negative 0.75. So what does that mean? Demand for cereal, elastic, inelastic, or inelastic? How do you know? All right, so again, look at the value. It is negative 0.75. Again, remember, ignore, for price elasticity, ignore the negative sign. Look at the absolute value of that number is 0.75. So that would mean demand is inelastic. Again, since ED, is less than 1. Absolute value is less than 1, inelastic. If this were negative 0.2 or negative 0.3 or negative 2, negative 3, negative 5, those are all absolute value bigger than 1. That would mean elastic. All right, now part B. This one's a little tough. Suppose price of cereal rises by 25%. By what percentage would quantity demanded change? Also indicate increase or decrease. Well, first, that part's easy, right? We know law of demand. If price rises by 25%, so what direction is quantity demanded going to go? That's right. Law of demand, inverse relationship. So if price rises, quantity demanded's got to decrease or fall. So by what percent? Now, how do we get this? Again, if you didn't try it yet, pause the video and then come on back. But basically what we're going to do here is use our good friend, the midpoint formula. I'm sorry, actually we don't even need that here because we don't have the actual prices and quantities, but we do have the percentage and we do have the elasticity. So we're actually, this is a bit easier. We're just going to use the general formula. Remember the general formula for price elasticity of demand. Percent change in quantity demanded over percent change in price. So the other problems, we had to calculate these percentages to calculate this. This problem's a little bit different. You're given this, ED, and you're given the percent change in price. We need to find the numerator. So basically, all we're doing here is algebra. Plug in what we know, solve for x. All right, so we know ED is negative 0.75. And that must equal the percent. Actually, let's move that down a little bit just to make these consistent. All right, so that equals the percent change in quantity. That's what we don't know. All right, let's highlight that. Blue. All right, and we do know, though, the percent change in price, 25%. And let's highlight that. All right. So something divided by 25 equals 0.75. Basically, we've got to rearrange this formula and solve for x. Okay, so we can do that by multiplying both sides by the 25. All right, and then that should equal, all we're left with on this side is the percent change in QD. Okay? So all I did was multiply both sides by 25%. 25% times over here times 25% over here, that's going to cancel out. So all we're left with on this side is just the percent change in Q. So all we're doing is multiplying those numbers together, and our answer is negative 18.75%. Okay? Or if you had this in decimal form, 0.25 times negative 0.75, you'd get 0.1875, which again is 18.75%. So again, negative means a decrease. And there's our answer, decrease in quantity demanded by 18.75%. There's our answer for part B. Whoops. All right, now sorry, part C kind of got away from me here. All right, so part C. Do you think the demand for peanut butter crunch cereal specifically would be more or less elastic than demand for cereal in general? Why? All right, so C is kind of getting at, do you know those factors that determine elasticity? These are things, again, right from the book, right from my lecture notes. What determines elasticity? For the consumer on the demand side, these are things like time. How much time does the consumer have to respond? Are there any close substitutes for this product? Is this good a luxury good or a necessity good, etc.? So look over those characteristics. Okay? Make sure you know those. Definitely that'll be on our quiz. Now this one kind of ties in with the definition of the market. How narrowly or how broadly defined is it? Peanut butter crunch cereal is a very specific, very narrow definition of the market. There are tons of alternatives to specifically peanut butter crunch cereal. There's Reese's Puffs, there's Kroger brand Puffs, there's things like Gorilla Munch, there's peanut butter puffins, things like that, okay? Lots of other peanut butter flavored cereals, lots of other cereal brands, right? Special K, Life, Cheerios, right? So lots of other alternatives. We're going to be more sensitive to a change in price of peanut butter crunch cereal. Now, what about cereal in general? Now, that's very broad. That's a very broad definition of the market, cereal in general. There are not a whole lot of alternatives to cereal. So the broader definition, the more inelastic demand will be. The more specific, the more narrowly defined we are, like peanut butter crunch cereal, the more elastic demand will be. All right, there's our answer, and we're done with problem 3. Next up, we've already done the video for problem 4. Next up is problem number 5. One more on price elasticity. So we'll see you for that one.